This video series has been developed by the Department of Energy, Mines, Industry Regulation and Safety for the Western Australian resources industry. It aims to help supervisors and workers recognise common workplace hazards that have killed or seriously injured people. Being able to correctly identify hazards is the first step towards reducing the risk of incidents in the workplace. Most safety videos just tell people how to do things. In the two videos on falling from height, we're going to explain why a fall can harm people and the ongoing and often huge personal cost. If you understand the basic principles behind what you are doing, you can adopt safer work practices and better risk controls. After all, we want everyone to go home safe from work.
This video is one in a set focusing on the effects of falling from height. When things go wrong, whether you plummet 100 metres or stumble just a few centimetres, you could be seriously hurt or killed. In this video, we're exploring the personal cost of falls from height through real-life stories of people who have experienced a fall or suffered the wider repercussions of an accident. Falling from height remains a major cause of injuries and fatalities in the mining industry. If you are injured in a fall, the resulting physical trauma is often just the beginning of a long, arduous journey towards recovery. The rehabilitation process will reduce your ability to work and participate in activities you enjoy, potentially affecting your mental health. Additionally, those around you have to cope with your limited mobility, compromising your personal and professional relationships. And if you're unlucky enough to suffer a fatal injury, the emotional pain inflicted on your loved ones will last forever. Rob Jenkins was working as a serviceman when he fell 1.2 metres from a dozer during a routine maintenance procedure in May 2015.
The day of the accident, I'd actually pulled up to D9 clearing dozer to start the normal refuel procedure and lube. I'd gone around to the opposite side of the machine to open up the side engine door to remove the air filter and replace it with a new one, and the door had actually jammed. So I got a couple of leverage bars and we levered the door open probably by about 100 mil. When I'd got that open, I'd actually put my hand on top of the door to help myself get up from a squatting position. And when I did that, unfortunately the door swung open and there's not a lot of room between the edge of the track and the size of the door when it opens. And it threw me straight down onto the ground on the flat of my back. That's when I thought I'd actually broken my back. And I knew then that I was in a spot of trouble there. Fortunately, the CT scan came out clear. A lot of it was only just, I think, jarring around, soft tissue damage. And the GP then referred me to physiotherapy to try and fix the muscles and cut out some of the aggravating pain. It can come along at any time. It's a little bit like a hot knife drilling through the middle of your back. It just becomes almost unbearable. I had a previous accident in a 5 metre fall back in 1996. That 5 metre fall was straight onto my feet off a bridge. A lot of the trades that I used to do, I really can't work in those awkward positions anymore. Laying underneath machines and reaching up and lifting heavy components. It's my decision that I've withdrawn from mine site work. And I've decided to work on my own. I do my own mechanical work here. We also run a long daycare centre now. I'm one of the lucky ones compared to a lot of people who have been injured, that I'm still walking, talking and breathing, and I'm still able to do 90% of the things that I used to be able to do. You've got to keep a positive attitude because things do get better, and you use a goal in saying, well, this is the way I used to be. So we shoot for the sky and hit the treetops a little bit. Your determination within your mind to get back to that is extremely important. But I'm just a sheer stubborn person. I just don't like to be kept down.
In April 2014, Lance Priestley was removing 80 kilogram skirt plates from a chute when an ordinary rock triggered disaster.
So I've grabbed one end and I'm walking backwards with it, so I had to crouch to get under a beam in the chute. As I've crouched down, there's a little rock and I rolled my foot in it and I dropped the wear plate out of my hands and hit me in the kneecap. I've gone down and realised that I'd done something to it, went to get back up and couldn't get back up. So I sat in the chute and rolled up the trouser leg and the old kneecap just snapped in half, like a cookie, just clean in half. And from then on, was tripped back into Geraldton Hospital, which was a 3.5 hour trip in the ambulance. Went up and they operated on it the next morning, wired it back together, and didn't feel the pain straight away until I got home that day. Once the pain set in, I got a bit agitated with it, couldn't get myself comfortable. Probably took me a couple of days to realise what I'd really done to myself and what disadvantages it had to me. I was doing things that I didn't like to have to do. I couldn't make my way to the toilet, I couldn't put myself to bed of a night, I couldn't get out of bed of a morning by myself. Interfered with my sex life. That's one thing I didn't like very much, I tell you.
It impacted our life a lot. Lance, even though he probably didn't admit it at the time, he suffered from depression really badly because he's always doing something and all of a sudden he's stuck there, he can't do anything, he can't walk.
I had me periods there where I just thought, I'm just over it. I used to say to myself, I'm over it. I'm just over it. I've had enough, I just can't handle this.
I used to just get so annoyed and people would ring me and say, oh, how's Lance? And I'd say, you know, Hurley's still alive today. You know, not that I'll kill him or anything, but sometimes you just want to pick him up and shake him because it's like this deep depression that had hit him, but he wouldn't admit it. But it was worth it in the end to see him walk again and to go back to work.
I used to be able to go and do a bit of rock fishing and things like that, and I just can't do it now. I feel like I can't do it. I don't know, there's something in the back of my head that just tells me not to do things. You know, I've always been frightened of falling over and hitting my knee. I've always had safety issues all the time, you know, I've always thought, but now I think outside the circle a lot more. Sort of seeing something and thinking, no, that shouldn't be there, move it before you even do it. Whereas before I probably just went and done it, thought about it, you know, about which way I was going to go and do it. But these days I think a lot more about how I'm going to go about, how I'm going to approach things.
Natalie Bell's father, Rene Ponce, sustained fatal injuries after falling 15 metres from a ladder in August 2010. The tragedy occurred during Rene's first shift as an underground air leg operator, one day before his 60th birthday.
I received a very distressed phone call from my mother and I couldn't really understand what she was saying. So I called the house again and this very young police officer said to me, you need to come home now, there's been an accident. And I said, okay, what sort of accident? And he said, your father has been killed in a mine and you need to come now. From what we gathered, he was going down the ladder and he was with his trade assistant. His trade assistant left and then after that they couldn't find my father and yeah, he was hanging from 15 metres down the ladder. So yeah, had fallen 15 metres. It's a very slow, painful process in the simple fact that after a death in a mine or anywhere in the workforce, there is an investigation that has to go through and there is different, you know, you go to civil court and then you go to criminal court and all sorts of different courts. And, you know, it takes years and years and you're not able to mourn the person, your family, your loved one, because you're having to relive this over and over again. But I just got to get on with it. I have my son and my mum that are dependent on me for everything. So I've had to change jobs. My mother, she's heartbroken. Her and my father were together for 43 years. They were childhood sweethearts. They were best friends. The whole life has changed for all of us. There's not a day that doesn't go by that we don't think of Dad. It was actually more than a job for him. He absolutely loved working in the mines and working with the minerals and the earth, as he put it. He has every certificate you can think of, safety was everything to him. It's because he had something to look forward to come home. You know, he had a family that loved him and was waiting for him. So I believe that, you know, him being left, especially working in such a dangerous type of position, to be being left alone for 5 minutes, it's just not safe.
A fall from height may last only seconds, but the effects can last a lifetime. A job may look safe on paper, but that paper won't come to your rescue in the event of a fall. Mine sites are dynamic environments, and work areas are constantly changing, so take the time to identify potential hazards for yourself and your workmates. Double-check safety harnesses, fixed points and barriers, and raise any concerns with your supervisor. There's no point bypassing safety checks to satisfy a production target. If you should fall, the schedule will be compromised regardless. And long after production is back on track, you'll still be dealing with the consequences of the accident. Remember, everyone wants to go home safe from work.